welcome to my weekly vibrational astrology forecast video. This is for the week ahead, starting with Monday, January 20th, going to Sunday, January 26th, 2020. My next weekly forecasting video will be done on Monday, January 27th, and I'll share it then. So this is an interesting week that we have ahead of us. It's actually going to be a lot lighter and more active, I would say, than the last several weeks that we've had. So I know a lot of people have been going through a lot of stuff with this Saturn-Pluto conjunction that's been going on. It is still going on right now, but we do have the sun moving into the sign of Aquarius. We also have the new moon in Aquarius, which is a nice energy to start off, this Aquarian, cycle. There is a lot of interesting midpoints that are going on during the new moon as well, so I'll get into those. And it's a really good week. I think we'll start to make some headway from the last 2 weeks, which have been very heavy for a lot of us. So if you don't already know me, my name is Starlene. Hi. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of content. I will also be sharing some videos on learning astrology. I have a video on how to look up your birth chart already. The link to that is in the description box. And you should, if you haven't already done that, you should look up your birth chart so you know where your placements of your planets are, because as I talk about these reports, you'll get more out of them if you already know your birth chart. So go ahead and check that out when you have a moment and let me know what you think. So I will subscribe to my channel because I will be putting out more of these videos. And also, if you like my content, feel free to share and like it. And of course, leave me a comment. I do think it's a great time to leave a comment too, because I am going to be giving away another giveaway. Last week I gave a giveaway. The winner to my last week's giveaway is Joy Brunette. So Joy, you're going to have to get in touch with me through social media or through my email address, which is starlenewriter@gmail.com, and we can schedule your session. So for this giveaway this week, I'm going to be giving away an hour-long consultation. So if you would like a consultation, feel free to subscribe to my channel and then also make a comment in the comment section under the video, and I will add you to the list of people that I will choose. I will choose one winner out of the people that have done that. The reason I'm doing these giveaways is because I want to get to know you guys a little bit more. I want to share my wisdom of astrology with you guys. And it is my birthday month, so I'm sharing things with you guys because I like to do that on my birthday month. Do something special for the people that are following me or talking to me through my work and such. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and jump into some of the things that are going on aside from the giveaway and my website that I just talked about. The first thing is that I am doing a vibrational astrology workshop. I'm doing it with the Atlantic chapter of the NCGR, and it is in February on the 22nd at the Nova University in Davie, Florida. So if you're in South Florida and you would like to learn about vibrational astrology, this would be a good place to start. If you are interested in going to a conference, there is a conference that's going to be in March from the 27th to the 29th in Gainesville, Florida. So that's like North Florida. And it is called the Vibrational Astrology Conference. It's a great conference. David Cochran will be giving a pre-conference lecture, which will help you to understand what vibrational astrology is. And then there are the researchers that have prepared and researched these topics that they're sharing with us, during the conference. It's a great way to learn about vibrational astrology. It's a great way to be on the cutting edge of astrology. And it is a wonderful way to meet other people. I'm not lecturing this year. I did last year, but I will be there giving mini readings between the lectures. So feel free to, if you do connect, go up there, feel free to connect with me and let me know that you'd like a mini reading so we can schedule that. So that's all I really have to talk about as far as things that are coming up. I do want to say one more thing. Today being that it is my birthday month, and being that today is my actual birthday, it's also actually my solar return. So why I say it like that is because your birthday is the day of birth. So January 20th, this is the day I'm recording this, is my birthday. But some sometimes your solar return is on the day before or the day after your birthday. And your solar return, what that means is it just means that the Earth has taken that long, however long it is, to get to the exact spot it was when you're born. And it's not exact every year because the Earth takes 365 and a quarter days a year, or yeah, days to make an entire trip around the sun. So it goes off a little bit by sometimes as much as a day. So it could be the day before or the day after. Today is my birthday and it is my solar return. So it's a special day for me, astrologically. And why it's special is I can pull up what's called a solar return chart. Solar return chart is like the chart of my year ahead, just for me personally. And of course I can do this with other people, and I think it's a great way for you to kind of plan ahead with yourself. I like to look at my solar return chart every single year because it helps to give me insight as to what is going to be my focus. Is it going to be work? Is it going to be love? Is it going to be family? Is it going to be health? And all these things, happen. And it's interesting to look at because it really does give us an eye opener of what's to come for me personally for that year. So if you would like to get a consultation like that, I do them. Just check out my website. Of course, like I said, the link is in the description box. So, okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into all of the midpoints and then the regular astrology, and we'll talk about all that. So the first thing is the midpoints from last week. They had started last week and they're ending this week. The first thing is the midpoint with Pluto at the midpoint of Mercury Jupiter. This started on the 18th and ends on the 20th, which is today. It peaked yesterday on the 18th, and this is really having some kind of influence over the masses. This is like suggestive speaking, being very persuasive. Pluto has that intense kind of energy with us. Mercury is our communication, and Jupiter blows things up. So it's like we have this intense ability to communicate in a big way, and you can be pretty persuasive with that. Pluto has that ability to make us persuasive. And then we have Saturn at the midpoint of Mercury and Jupiter. This was also the 19th and 20th. The peak of it is today on the 20th. And this is more of a serious mental thing. Saturn kind of cuts away and makes things serious, only wants to deal with things that are, meaningful and lasting. So this is like our mental philosophy is almost like become cut away. We want to get to the nitty-gritty of what is our own mental personal philosophy. This can be very meaningful and lasting as well, because the Saturn energy is saying, hey, our mind and our expansion of our mind, which is Mercury Jupiter, has this very serious toned planet Saturn right in between them. And this gives us a chance to say, okay, what's meaningful to us? What is our meaningful mental philosophy? What is it? Express it, give it some thought, during this time. The next midpoint that I'm going to talk about, actually the next couple midpoints, they also had started last week. The first one is Neptune at the midpoint of Sun Uranus. That started on the 19th and ends on the 22nd, so ends on Tuesday. And this is like a feeling of almost being a little delusional, a feeling of not having your feet firmly planted on planet Earth. Neptune is this planet that it can kind of make us feel like we're a little spacey. That can be one of the symptoms of Neptune. One of the functions, the actual function of Neptune, is the function of your ideals, your highest ideals. And sometimes our highest ideals are not firmly planted in the ground. If we're dreaming about, this and that, and we're not actually manifesting it, we can kind of like feel a little ungrounded. So this can make us feel like we need to get our feet firmly planted to the ground. This may be a good time also to have some inspiration too, because Neptune and the Sun Uranus connection does have some inspiration. It can be even like intuitive flashes of insight or something like that are going on. So the next one that we're going to talk about is the Sun at the midpoint of Mercury Saturn. This started on the 13th, and the peak is on the 21st, which is Tuesday, and it ends on the 30th, so it ends next week, not this week. And this is a desire for some solitude, a desire of solitude of the mind, more or less the mind. This is also rational thinking. The sun makes this big, light between Saturn and Mercury. And here it's like illuminating Saturn and Mercury, working together with them, saying, hey, give us some solitude. It's time for some solitude. It's time for some rational thinking. You know, we've been going through a lot of emotional stuff that have come up for a lot of people, myself included. It's time to get rational with ourselves. It's time to say, okay, this is what's important. This is what makes sense. You know, and when we take solitude for ourselves, it helps you to feel like you're more peaceful if you take time to give yourself some solitude. So do that with yourself during this time, if at all possible, by meditation, or, you know, just taking a walk by yourself or something like that. Do something with yourself because it will nurture your inner soul. Okay, so the next midpoint is the Sun at Mercury Pluto. That started on the 13th also, and it ends on the 25th. The peak was on Saturday, so it's already done. It's already peaked, but it's still going on. So until the 25th. So it's still in play until Saturday. So it's still in play till Saturday. And this is having some kind of decisive way of speaking. And it could be very persuasive as well, because, you know, remember, Pluto is quite persuasive. And decisive thinking is like, you know, really not being afraid to say what you want. And that, you know, the Sun is illuminating that. We may also have some form of compelling conversations with other people. And if you need to have communications or need to make decisions, this might not be a bad energy for you to do it under. So making some decisions or being like, you know, deciding on something important, that's not a bad idea during this time. So those are the midpoints that were going on last week. These midpoints are going on, these next set of midpoints are going on just this week. The first one is Jupiter at the midpoint of Mercury and Mars. That starts on the 22nd to the 23rd. The peak is on the 22nd, so it's Wednesday and Thursday. And this has us constructively thinking, and it has us also being a little critical at the same time. It's constructive criticism, though. It's not like negative criticism. And it's also good judgment. You know, we may have a desire to be critiqued during this time, or we may ask somebody for, you know, critiquing something we're working on, because that person will have a good way of saying it to you, and also you'll have a good way of receiving it as well, because this is, you know, constructive thinking. And if you're trying to work on a project, this might be a good time to start it, because it has this ability to say, okay, this will work for me, and this makes sense, you know, that kind of work in that sense. I think it's important for us all to remember to, you know, to be successful, we need to have some kind of like ability to look at something with an eye of not getting like emotionally attached to it, but being able to say, is this right? Does this work? You know, and to be able to do that, to be successful at something, we have to critique ourselves, you know, just critiquing ourselves in our lives and what we do, what we eat, you know, what we are we exercising enough? Anything we can kind of critique ourselves with. And I think that's an important thing to be successful at anything you can do that with. So this is a great time to think about that. The next one is Pluto at the midpoint of Sun and Jupiter. And this is on the 23rd to the 25th. The peak is the 24th, so it's Wednesday through Saturday with the peak on Friday. This is very happy, a happy energy. It means good fortune. There's also, you know, good luck. It can be wealth and happiness. If you can go buy a lottery ticket, maybe you'll win. You know, this is a really positive kind of energy. So Pluto makes that Sun-Jupiter energy, which is really, you know, happy, buoyant, you know, joyful kind of energy, expansive energy. Pluto makes that like intense. So that happiness is really good. And that happiness can be, hey, I just, you know, did something really great. I just won something. I just got some really good fortune. I just got this thing in the mail that I've been expecting for a long time, and I didn't expect it to come. And, you know, something like that, because this is the time, the energy for that, you know. The following one is Venus at the midpoint of Uranus and Pluto, and this is on the 23rd and the 24th. The peak is the 24th, so it's Thursday and Friday with the peak on Friday. And this is creative power. We have a lot of creative power going on here. This is the desire for us to bring in new ways of even being artistic. So Venus is the artistic element in this. And then we have Uranus and Pluto is like that intensity, and Uranus is like being in the present moment. So Venus is being, colored by these two really heavy, deep planets, and it's the ability to really let that creativity come out from our inner core, our inner being. You may, if you're an artist, you may notice that you're really compulsively driven to doing art during that day. If you're not, maybe you want to pick up an art project or something like that. It would be a good time to do it, Thursday, Friday. So that is Venus at Uranus, Pluto. The next one is Mercury at Uranus, Pluto. So as you see, we have Venus at Uranus, Pluto, and Mercury at Uranus, Pluto. They are the same dates, except they just peak on different days. So this Mercury at Uranus, Pluto is Thursday, Friday as well, but the peak is on Thursday. This is really an intense thought and activity time. There could be a restless or obsessive kind of feeling going on, but you can also be really resourceful and inventive at this time. So again, going along with the creative stuff that I was talking about, this may be a time when you're like creating something new or really inventing something new, a new style of something, a new style of art or something like that. That's, something new to you. And it's intense. We might not want to sleep a whole lot because of this energy is like got our mind going. If you're too wound up going, bring it back down and remind yourself to be more settled. But this can be intense, but it is also very creative because it has that Venus energy in it too. And then the last one that begins and ends this week is Mercury at the midpoint of Jupiter and Neptune. This starts on the 24th and ends on the 25th. The peak is on the 25th, which is Saturday. And this is a very active and buoyant imagination. So your mind may be like excited and buoyant and happy. There is like a very strong power of persuasion, a visualization. We can get inspiration here as well. So there is a feeling of like, finding some kind of inspiration within ourselves. What are your dreams? What are your desires? What are the things that you want to create with yourself? You're going to be thinking about that. And this is amplified in our mind because it's Mercury at Jupiter, Neptune. Mercury is the planet in the center. That means that it's colored by our ideals and how we can make things big. So Mercury is saying, hey, here we are. What can we think about? This is also a tendency to talk a lot. So you might feel like you're talking a lot. Other people are talking a lot to you. Nothing wrong with that, right? And then there's also like an idea of this being like you could put on a mask, or other people could put on a mask and kind of pretend to be someone else during this time. So just be aware of that. If you're feeling like this person isn't being genuine or something, just know that it could be something like that. A mask that the person is wearing. And I don't mean it like a literal sense. I mean it like, a persona or something like that, because the Mercury and Neptune kind of make our minds a little bit foggy, and then Jupiter's just inflating that. It might come off in that sense. So the next midpoint that I'm going to talk about, the last one, is the midpoint that's going to start this week and end next week. This is Saturn at the midpoint of Sun, Jupiter. This starts on the 25th and ends on the 28th. So, and it peaks on the 26th. So it's Saturday through next Tuesday, and the peak of it is this Sunday. So this is really a feeling that kind of contradicts everything I just talked about, saying that it's a lack of energy and a lack of a desire to do things. You might have a negative kind of mindset during this time, or mental unwellness. So Saturn kind of douses the really good vibes that, I was just talking about, makes us more serious, makes us want to cut away the things that aren't really important to us and let go. So there's a fine balance between that, right? Like we can say, okay, we want to do this, we want to be creative and everything like that. But at the same time, we have to take care of ourselves and we have to take care of life. So if it's something that's taking time, just not working for you, maybe this particular midpoint, Saturn at Sun, Jupiter, will have you go, okay, that's nice, but maybe it's not working for you the way you're expecting it to. So this may be a little bit of depression as well. So if you're feeling that way, just know it's a midpoint. It's going to come and it's going to also go. So those are the midpoints for this week. The next thing to talk about are the two planet aspects that are going on. So this aspect that I touched on earlier is the aspect between Saturn conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. That happened, it started on the 1st of January and it goes till about the 23rd. So it does wind up this week. Now, some astrologers may say it's going to last longer, and it will. The energy of it will, and also the other planets making the connections to Saturn and Pluto will definitely be going on. But this, you know, is a very long aspect, a very long thing going on. I use small orbs, so I believe that, you know, at 1.5 orb or 1.5 degrees, it's going to be like far enough away that it's not as intense as it was when it's, you know, closer together. So this is really like some kind of psychological restlessness, some kind of like our minds is our physical being is like wanting to shed what is us, letting go of everything that is not important to us. And I've said this a few times, but letting go and then embracing and allowing ourselves to transform into what it is that we want to be, you know, and that isn't always easy. You know, if you have planets or angles around 20-22 degrees of Capricorn, last week you probably really felt it when we had the eclipse and we had that actual Saturn Pluto conjunction. That's intense stuff. You know, this is a really powerful conjunction, and these planets are moving apart from each other, but they are still in that strength there. So just know that we're still shedding and we're still reforming ourselves to the next place where we're going to be. And that does wind up this week, and I won't be talking about it so much anymore, but definitely it has been a powerful ride, that's for sure. So this brings me to Monday, January 20th. This is the normal astrology here. We have the sun ingress into Aquarius, and as I started this video, the sun just made it into Aquarius at 9:55 a.m. Eastern time. And you know, Aquarius is about like connecting with your tribe, about social networking, either in the literal sense, like on social media or something like that, or like just identifying with a group. Like it's important to identify with the group, even if the group is like an outcast or the group is something obscure or weird or different. You know, it is a group, because Aquarius energy has us wanting to do that, has us wanting to seek that connection out with other people. So during this month of Aquarius sun moving through the sign of Aquarius, it's us wanting to say, hey, this is important for us. This is our social tribe, if you will. You know, what does that look like for you? Are you connected to people? If not, then maybe it's time for you to start, you know, getting there. So that is the sun ingress into Aquarius on Tuesday, January 22nd, and on Tuesday, January 21st, and Wednesday, January 22nd. There are no exact aspects to talk about. So move on to Thursday, January 23rd. This is the sun Aquarius squares Uranus and Taurus, and this happens at 1:54 a.m. It will be felt on Wednesday and Thursday, and this can be an unsteady kind of feeling. So the sun, you know, in Aquarius, it's like this connect with our tribe, feel good, you know, kind of like inspirational energy that can be a little bit unusual or quirky, connecting with Uranus in Taurus, and you know, Uranus in Taurus is kind of like shaking the earth beneath our feet. So it's easy to make mistakes during this time. So really be mindful of yourself during this time. Really say, okay, I want to be steady and I want to place my feet on the ground where I want them to go, not like off the edge or something, you know. And that's a metaphor, but you know, use that and apply it to your own personal life. But it's definitely a time for us to keep steady. So just remember, Wednesday and Thursday, keep yourself steady. Try not to let things rock you too much, whether it be a physical thing or an actually, you know, a situation or conversation or something like that. So also on Thursday, the 23rd, we have Venus in Pisces making a sextile to Jupiter in Capricorn. That happens at 8:07 a.m. Oh, and by the way, Wednesday night, Thursday morning might be a difficult time to sleep because of this sun square Uranus. So you might be feeling like, oh, I can't sleep, I'm restless. If that's so, then just try to get up and do something inspirational or constructive with yourself. Read a book if you don't have anything like that to do. Watch TV if you can just relax. But if you can't sleep during Wednesday night, just know that it's this energy, and it will fade away, and the next day will be easier for you as far as rest is concerned. So back to Venus and Pisces sextile Jupiter and Capricorn happening on the 23rd. This does peak at 8:07 a.m. It is felt Wednesday and Thursday as well. And this is a very lighthearted and creative energy. There's a lot of joy in the creation that you make. So there's a lot of fun and expansiveness. This kind of echoes what I talked about with the midpoints, where we feel like a desire to create something that is outside of our norm. So this is a time to really think about that. What kind of things might you want to create with yourself during this time? The next thing is Friday, January 24th. That is the new moon in Aquarius. That happens at 4:42 p.m. at 4 degrees 33 minutes of Aquarius. So if you have any planets at 4 degrees 33 minutes of Aquarius, this will be affecting you even more. So the new moon means that the sun and the moon are conjunct. They're in the same spot in the sky for all intents and purposes here. And, you know, new moons are always new beginnings. This is the first new moon of the new year. This is an opportunity for us to open ourselves and to say, how can we get into the collective, get into our social tribe? How can we do that? What can we do to let go of the things that aren't working with us so that we can embrace the things that we really want to pursue? You know, some of those things could be, you know, actually meeting other people, getting out of your shell a little bit. You know, the holidays were hard, and then turning around and you have this Saturn Pluto conjunction that was really intense, making us all feel like weighted down. And now this new moon in Aquarius is like, hey, okay, so are you connected to are you socially happy? Are you connected to your tribe? Are you connected to your people? And your tribe may be, you know, not necessarily a social circle. It might be your family. It might be your school. It might be the people at school. It might be the people that you work with. You know, whoever it is that you connect with, you'll have an amplification of that. And you'll also want to think about who can you connect with, or who would you want to connect with? What kind of people would you want to connect with if you could? You know, thinking about that during this new moon is important. So there's a few midpoints that I want to talk about that are going on during the during the new moon. The first one is the sun at Mercury Saturn, that's 19 minutes, and the sun at Mercury Pluto, which is 50 minutes. I talked about these above. The sun at Mercury Saturn is a desire for solitude of the mind and also for rational thinking. And the sun at Mercury Pluto is really decisive speaking, persuasive speaking, and also compelling communication. So this is going on during the new moon. So you might feel like you want to be quiet, but at the same time, you also might feel like you want to be expressed. That may translate into journaling or communicating in that sense, or communicating in solitude, but like maybe through writing of some sort. So the next set of midpoints that I'm going to talk about is the moon at Mercury Saturn in 19 minutes and the moon at Mercury Pluto 50 minutes. So see, we had the sun at Mercury Saturn and the sun at Mercury Pluto. Since the sun and moon are in the same spot, the moon is going to also make all these same exact aspects. So the moon at Mercury Saturn in 19 minutes is emotional stillness. It's a calmness to the soul. It can be somewhat of an inconsistency to yourself. So if you're feeling like that, just know that this is the moment, but bring some stillness into yourself on during the new moon on Thursday. And then the moon Mercury Pluto is the ability to speak from the heart and the soul. So it will be very convincing to speak in that way. So, you know, as you see, I'm talking about these different midpoints that are going on during the new moon. It's like saying we want to express ourselves, but we also want solitude. And they sound like completely opposites. You know, it's like you want to be an introvert and an extrovert at the same time, sort of like that, but not exactly. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why it might be good to write about what you want to project yourself into the future in the groups that you want to connect yourself with and all of that. I think that's important for us to really think about and do during this time. And the last set of midpoints I want to talk about during this new moon is Saturn at Sun Jupiter at 59 minutes, almost a degree. I did talk about that above too. And then Saturn at Moon Jupiter at 59 minutes. And I talked about the Saturn at Sun Jupiter above, and that is a lack of desire to do things, kind of depression or maybe a negative mindset. So, or unwellness of the mind. So you may feel a little depressed, you may feel a little down. The Saturn at Moon Jupiter is difficulty in feeling happy. You might be depressed. There might be some kind of inner conflict going on. So if you're feeling conflicted during this new moon, it's okay. It's time for you to say, okay, what are these conflicts? Make them aware, make yourself aware of them so that you can heal them. That's the key to healing anything, is to be aware of it first. And then we have Pluto at Sun Jupiter, and then Pluto at Moon Jupiter. So as you see, it was Saturn at Sun Jupiter, Saturn at Moon Jupiter, and because Pluto and Saturn are so close, we have Pluto at Sun Jupiter and Pluto at Moon Jupiter. These are at 3 minutes. So these are 3-minute orbs, which are very, very tight. And so Pluto at Sun Jupiter is the pursuit of happiness and good fortune. You're like driven to be happy. You're really, really putting energy into trying to be happy, or you're feeling just happy and just bursting, you know. So this is a very strong contrast from what I was talking about with the Saturn at Sun Jupiter energies and the Saturn at Moon Jupiter energies as well. So we also have Pluto at Moon Jupiter, which is also 3-minute degree, which is very, very tight. And this is an extraordinary and unusual feeling for striving for wealth and possessions. You know, we have a desire to really collect things, to make things, to have our wealth and our possessions around us. We want to expand our self in an intense way, you know, about those things, about the things of the heart, because that is the connection to the moon. And then the very last midpoint going on during the new moon, and the only reason I'm mentioning it is because it also, I mentioned it earlier, but I'm mentioning it because it's only a 2-minute orb. It is Venus at the Saturn Uranus midpoint. So it's a 2-minute orb, so it's really intense. So during this new moon, it's not just powerful because it's a new moon, it's powerful because of all these midpoints that are going on with it, and the contrast between the creative side of ourselves and the solitude side of ourselves. This Venus at Saturn Uranus, this can have stress and tension in love. This can have us feeling stressed out with our loves. This can lead to some kind of like feeling of like separation of sorts. So if you're feeling that way, if you're feeling like stress or tension regarding love, you know, just know that that might be something that you have to let go of, either the stress or the tension, or maybe the relationship itself, or maybe it's the artwork that you're doing, because Venus is also connected to our art. So kind of take inventory of that. If there's something in your life yourself that you need to think about as far as, is this person or thing, you know, really meant for me, then it will be there for you and you'll keep it. If not, it might be time to just move on and let it go. So that is Thursday, the January 24th, all of the new moon aspects, new moon midpoints. The next thing to talk about is on Friday. Oh, sorry, it's Friday, January 24th. I said Thursday. The next thing to talk about is Saturday, January 25th. It is Mercury in Aquarius making a sextile to Mars in Sagittarius. This happens at 8:09 a.m. We'll be feeling it Friday and Saturday. This is social ease. This is a feeling of good sense of humor. This is, you know, happy. This is good positive thoughts. Our mind might be going fast, but it will be going fast in an easy and good way. You know, sextiles have ability to make things like smooth, but also active. So our mind and our energy are smooth and active together. So we're putting them together. You know, we'll be thinking fast, but we'll also be thinking in a positive way. So that's Saturday. Sunday the 26th is Venus in Pisces squares Mars in Sagittarius. This happens at 8:37 p.m. We can feel this from Saturday through next Tuesday. And this is like having us feeling pleasures in a tangible way and things that we really love. It's a sweet energy. So even though it's a square, it's got these two beautiful planets, Venus in Pisces, Mars in Sagittarius, where they're both happy in those signs. So it's like this, the energy of these two planets are you know, working together to have all the loves, all the good things, you know, because Venus and Mars are about our emotions and our energy and our feelings and all of that. So we're doing that in a good way. We're feeling good and we're wanting to have the pleasures of life, especially in a tangible sense, in a physical sense. So that wraps up the astrology for the week ahead. The next thing I want to talk about is the gemstone for the week, and the gemstone I chose for the week is mahogany obsidian. Here is a piece of mahogany obsidian. As you can see, it's mahogany colored, and then it's got the black specks in it because it is obsidian. Okay, and so mahogany obsidian is awesome because it helps us to focus, it helps us to prioritize, and it helps us to make some spiritual progress with ourselves. You know, if you kind of have been feeling like things have been rough and difficult for you, this is a great stone to hold on to so that you can, you know, make some progress with yourself. It's time to, like, you know, get into some confidence here, and this stone will help you do that. It also helps you with you know, self-acceptance and self-love. So this is a great stone to work with. It's very inexpensive. You can find it lots of different places. You can find it online if nothing else. So that is the gemstone for the week. Thank you guys for watching. I invite you guys back to watch next week when I talk about Venus conjunct Jupiter and Mars square Neptune and lots of other powerful aspects that are going on. I appreciate you guys, all of you guys. I look forward to doing these videos every week, and I wish you a wonderful week. Have a great one, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.